What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video where we're going to be breaking down our ES futures contract today. We're going to be breaking down our 30-minute time frame, obviously looking at bar charts, and then we're going to look at the weekly and daily time frames, just kind of touch on those real quick. When I left you guys off, it was Monday, okay? I left off on Monday, kind of giving you guys an idea of what I was looking for the next day and the following days. And I said on Monday's video that I didn't make a video yesterday, but in Monday's video, because we had such a wide point of control and we didn't really get much extension, or not extension, but much rotation towards the highs on that day, I said that 88 was going to be a key level for me. And then I also said if we opened up inside of all of this mess, inside of the previous day's value and range, we would most likely chop around where point of control was at, which was right around that 83.50 level. And we did just that yesterday. We pretty much just chopped around inside the previous day's range, created another wide point of control, nine wide here at 82.25 from yesterday. And then late in the day, we decided we had a price spike where we spiked above A's high after getting back above that 88 key level I'd said in the previous day's video. And then we just grinded towards the highs, closing near the high day from Monday. So we ended yesterday with a price spike, a non-wide point of control, and then the high and low. Then today we come into the market, we gap pretty high actually. Got pretty high, opened up around 49.2350, pulled back initially. Didn't seem like the market really wanted to go trend down. Obviously it didn't. And then boom, we pop up and then started our grind towards the highs, setting new all-time highs in the regular trading session up here at 49.3325. Now this is where things got a little tricky. Once we hit up here, and then this time frame, which time frame is it? So we had A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. When H couldn't take out that high 49.3325, because we had finally started one time framing up, and we'd only been one time framing up 3 time frames in a row. And then and the reason for that is because B period started the one time frame down. Then C period took out B's high, stopped that, and then put ourselves back into a balance. Just like we rehearse in the daily time frame a lot, is we go from balance to down or balance to up, and then back to balance, so vice versa. Same thing here, right? We can't just go from down to up, right? We got to have some type of balance. So we went from down to balance, and then eventually began to go up. And then once we took that out, once we took C's high out at 31, we only went 2 points higher. Lack of extension there. And then we had a really aggressive liquidation break, taking out 1, 2, 3, 4 lows and almost a 5th low, coming back below the open. So at that point, it was anybody's game. The market could have, rallied, right? That could have been an afternoon pullback low, and the market could have rallied. And it did indeed initially have a nice bounce against C's low, right? Against that 49.19 level. It did have a really nice bounce, and you could have scalped out a couple points on that bounce, but you definitely didn't want to stay in it too long because you didn't know if this market was going to go up. Obviously, it failed at going trend up here by filling the small set of single prints it did have. So once again, the market's it's grinding, but in a weak fashion, in the sense that it's not really having trend days to the upside. Same thing for the sellers. They're not really having trend days to the downside. So, and by trend, I do mean having sets of single prints like we did on this day. This right here is an indication of a strong trend day up, right? We had multiple sets of single prints and closed at the highs. Here, not the case, right? We just kind of grinded up and then failed at the highs, rotated lower, and then we came back into a balance, stopped the one time framing up, and then we started one time framing down and continued that the rest of the day going into the close, coming back and filling the gap late in the day. So we took out this year's theme has really been just kind of taking out both sides of the IB, the initial balance, which is the first 2 30-minute time frames. And it's happened more than I've been accustomed to. Obviously, I haven't been in this market very long, this being my 4th year. you know, what it's just surprising to me how often in the last several days we've taken out both sides of the IB. We did it here, we did it here, and then we did it today. So I mean, it's almost carbon copy of what we did on these days, right? Almost a carbon copy. Grind it up, boom, liquidation. Grind it up, boom, liquidation. Grind it up, boom, liquidation. The only difference is we didn't have a V-shaped recovery, as we did have a rather aggressive or a rather large gap to the downside that needed to be filled. So we did eventually fill that and then closed just above the previous day's high. Now, what I'm going to be looking for tomorrow is, let's see, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M. Okay, yeah, so I'll be looking tomorrow to see if we open above 48.98 or 4,900 rather. Okay, I'll be looking to see if we open above 4,900. Obviously, this is the first time being above 4,900, and we did not find acceptance up there. Okay, it is very key that we find acceptance above 4,900, just like we had to have a little bit of consolidation, right? Trying to find acceptance above 4,700 and then 4,800. We had to find acceptance, right? As we got above 4,850, had a little bit of consolidation period, moved up higher. Maybe we decide to have another inside day consolidation, or maybe we take out the today's low, putting ourselves back into an initial 3-day balance where we'll rotate back and forth between 48.50 and 49.30. Before we decide to go one way or the other. Now, we do have more earnings coming out tomorrow, so we'll have to keep our eye on that. Obviously, that can spark the market in one way or the other, but key levels for me will be 4,900. Obviously, today's low at 48.95.25 will mark that, and then the price spike at 48.89.25 will also be key. I'll be looking to see, essentially, so I've been doing kind of support resistant style on this other side of my chart here. So I'll essentially be seeing if we find any support in that area, okay? If we do, we could begin to rotate higher, but obviously that will put ourselves into a balance by taking out today's low. And if we don't take it out by much, we only come down here, then I probably will only count it as like a 2-day balance. But yeah, let's go ahead and mark these destinations, and then we'll look at the daily and the weekly time frames just briefly, and then get you guys out of here as I got some business to attend. 33.25 is going to be today's high, so we'll mark that. There's no afternoon rally high. There is no afternoon pullback low. There is no wide point of control. So all we really have today is the high and low. Now, I will say, I think maybe a key level will I think 49.10 rather will probably be like right here half back. I think that'll be kind of a key area, whether or not we get above it or below it tomorrow, or hold below it, I should say. 24.24. So that'll be kind of something I'm looking for tomorrow, is if we hold around the 48.90 level, 4,900, rotate up, and if we do we get above 49.10? If we do get above 49.10, then obviously there's really nothing keeping this market back to get up here to 49.25 and then the day's high once again. So gap got filled. Gaps have been very hard to come by this year too. They have not held any intraday gaps, or just gaps in general. Flow day. I think we are like 1 out of 12 trading days or some shit like that where we've actually held a gap. So all right. So there you have it. High, low, 49.33.25 all-time high. 48.95.25 is going to be essential that buyers hold that level. So if I were to draw support and resistance level, right, that's kind of the key area. That's going to be kind of the key area. You want to find buyers there. If not, then down here will be your next destination, the previous day's lows. But all right, let's go ahead and look, or actually review the downside destinations real quick. So if we do take out tomorrow's low, 95.25, 89 will be the next stop. Below that, the non-wide point of control, 82.25. Below that, the previous day's low, 48.74.25, and then 73.50. Obviously, if we take this day's low out and then rotate lower to 82.25, we'll be putting ourselves back into an initial balance, and then that 73.50 will be our balance low. Not looking forward to that, as the market is still one time framing up, even though yesterday was an inside day, and we'll look at that here on the larger time frame. Let's just briefly look over the weekly time frame, and then we'll look over our daily. So here's our weekly. Continues to one time frame up, very strong. We had several weeks of consolidation here, finding acceptance within that 4,800 level, popped above, and now we're trying to find acceptance up here at 4,900. So we can continue to push higher and grind higher, but the question is how much higher. And obviously you don't want to be shorting this on the way up until you're given market generated information that kind of says otherwise. So yeah, weekly looking strong. Daily time frame. Here we go. One time framing up 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. Coming out of an inside day, was looking pretty strong initially, but closing back down into right at the previous day's high. Not very positive. But once again, like I said, if we take out today's low, then we'll be coming back into a balance. And depending on how far down we pull down, will determine the balance, because it will have just begun to form. 20-day moving average 48.12.73, so just right around that low down here at 74.25, and then 50-day moving average continues to creep on up at 47.07. 200-day moving average creeping up as well. Really good volume. The sad thing is mostly on the downside, so we'll have to keep an eye on that come tomorrow. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, hope you all have a wonderful day. Catch you later.